Hello everybody, my name is Alize Blea, and this is my AMA presentation on the movie Perfect Blue for Dr. Basara's course. And let's get started. It is often underestimated how powerful ideologies are. They are a power force that are integrated in many aspects of our lives without us even knowing it. In media, with television, news, and music, for example, we are always going to be influenced by it in some type of way. How we interpret the media and how it influences us is going to have an effect on us, as it's designed to be from both parties of the viewer and the product. A person's psyche can also be impacted on these structures, that you must act a certain way and only be that idea. Be that idealized person that the media will reward you as. How does ideologies of what someone should be affect a person? Can ideologies from mass media be harmful enough to affect person's perception of themselves? In this movie, we follow the beginnings of Mima Quiroga's beginning of change, of transferring from a face of an idol group, Cham, to the career path that she always wanted to pursue, becoming an actress. In this moment of her last performance, Mima and her member mates are seen as the medium, something that their passionate male fans support as they make the groups well known and popular. McClellan describes the medium as a characteristic of all media, meaning that the content of any medium is always another medium. The context of writing speech, just as the written word is the context of print, and print is the context of the telegraph. It is important with the cultural setting of the film to note that Japanese female idol groups featuring young acts are always or typically marketed towards men, as to pursue the image of them being pure and available to these men. These groups really only function as many do not have advertising or an organization to do the marketing for them. So they rely heavily on the support of their fans, creating a parasocial relationship with idols and fans. Our human senses, of which all media are extensions, are also fixed charges of our personal energies. They also configure the awareness and experiences of each of us. In this instance, the medium of Cham to male fans symbolize the purity of women that they desire. As the announcement was made that Mima was leaving Cham to pursue an acting career, as expected, her friends were disappointed and questioned how the group will go on forward. Mima begins to star as a side character in a psychological drama, with little scenes showing her performing. Automatically, Mima questions her decision, as her manager, Rumi Hideka, disagrees with this action and believes that she was better off staying as an idol. The same day of her last performance, she gets an anonymous fax stating that she's a traitor. People that she looked up to, such as her manager, is doubting her success in a new field of entertainment without stating much of a reason why she thinks that way, other than just looking out for Mima. Things worsens as she discovers a website called Mima's Room, where she discovers someone is pretending to be her and describes her actions to horrifying accuracy. Propaganda finishes objectives, organizes the traits of an individual's personality into a system, and freezes them into that mold. For example, prejudices that exist about an event come greatly reinforced and hardened by propaganda. The individual is told that he is right in harboring them. He discovers reasons and justifications for a prejudice when it's clearly stated that many and proclaimed openly. Moreover, the stronger the conflict in society, the stronger the prejudices and propaganda that intensifies conflict simultaneously intensifies prejudices in this very fashion. This shows that Mima starts to believe that she made a mistake with her new career path, especially after finding out that Cham is doing well and hit up their first top 100 song without her. Later, the film progresses, she begins to question her identity, which is the leading theme of the movie. Luckily, she becomes to be more prominent in the drama season due to the context of the scenes her agents encourage her to do, as they are a lot more risque than her previous clean-cut image, which involves a sexual assault scene and an erotic photo shoot. Despite Rumi's wishes, Mima agrees to these roles. She is shown to have a depthlessness attitude towards her roles. I'm an actress now. I have made that decision, so that's what I'm going to do. This starts the beginning of the versions of Mima we see throughout the roles, being questioned whether this is the real authentic Mima or not, which later wraps in her perception of herself. Not a one-to-one relationship between the signifier and the signified, between the maturity of language, between a word and a name of referent concept. Displaying how performers are willing to commit to the roles that they may go against what they are already known for due to the nature of the culture, in this case Japanese idol culture, showing that Mima is only rewarded in superficiality. The fetishism of Mima shows that the perception of the old idol image of Mima is the better version of her. This comes from the two perspectives of both her stalker and her manager Rumi, invalidating the real Mima for the preferred image of her that they deemed perfect, even though that isn't a reality. The unconscious desire, that which is supposedly the most hidden kernel, articulates itself precisely through the stimulation work of the kernel of a dream. It is latent, though, work of this using the context kernel by means of its transition into the dream rebus. Through Mima's room, the owner projects their frustrations of the current Mima and worships the idol version which she was prior to the one that is now, only seeing Mima for a purity image as if they had the say and autonomy of what she does with herself, in this case acting career, in this parasocial relationship that the culture conditions. For Rumi as a former idol herself, but it's hinted that she retired of being an idol because she didn't have the looks for it. She projects herself onto her client and sees herself as Rumi, more as if what she would have done if her idol career would have took off. When she sees Mima ditch her successful career as an idol for acting, she sees it as throwing her dream, Rumi's dream. These pressures cause the protagonist to go down a mental spiral. It comes to the point where Mima only sees herself in her flaws and continuously comparing herself to the old version of herself, which affects her perceptions of herself in the roles. Her mental health is being affected by the doppelganger version of herself we see throughout the film. The film begins to confuse the audience with scenes that question whether the events are happening to the real Rumi and the illusions of the fake Rumi, being still reluctant of what some of the audience may still only want Mima to be. But in their metaphysical despair from the idea that the image didn't conceal anything at all, and that these images were essence of not images, such as the original model of what made them, but perfect simulacra, forever radiant in their own fascination. After the encounter of her stalker, which results in his death, Mima is then shortly shown in the care of Rumi, presumed to be in Mima's apartment, but is soon to be revealed to be actually her manager's. An exact replica of Mima's apartment is then shown. The climax is revealed that Rumi believes herself as the real Mima and also influenced the stalker, which is Remania, to also be onto the act that the Mima in the movie isn't the real Mima. She then proceeds to chase the actual Mima with the intent to cause harm in her psychotic rage. All powers, all instructions speak of themselves through denial, in order to attempt, by stimulating death, to escape their real death throes. Power can stage its own murder to rediscover a glimmer of existence and legitimacy. In the climax, the film portrays Rumi as the idol version of Mima despite the few glimpses that shown her through glass windows showing the real Rumi herself. Rumi's region of terror is ended when she is saved by Mima by pushing her out of the way of a moving semi-truck, nearly resulting in both of their deaths. This film shows how culture, media influence, and identity can affect a person's well-being and their identity being manipulated by others. It is difficult for anyone to thrive with media and capitalistic corporations to control what influences us to benefit the higher power over us. When superficiality of image is going to be favored to gain some type of desire, in this case, a persona of a person is favored over a person's actual identity. When fiction and reality begins to become blurred, and it's difficult to distinguish what is real or not. I decided to include this last quote from Baudrillard because I feel like it summarizes the whole film and its message. As etiology collapses with its classical institution, it survives an anti-technology those tasks it is to re-inject the difference fiction. As the savage fiction is everywhere, to conceal that is in the world ours, which has begun salvage in this way, that is to say, which is devastated by difference and by death. This film was very progressive for the time it was produced and released, which was 1997, as we're seeing the effects of mass media and corporations controlling the ways we think about ourselves more than ever, more so with the introduction of social media being a crucial part of our lives. Do you think that the effects of ideologies put in media are going to affect how individuals see themselves and how they should act for future generations? Additionally, have you ever experienced effects of media influencing you and your identity? Thank you so much for watching my little presentation on the movie A Perfect Blue. I hope that you get to check it out because it's a really cool film, especially for the time it was made. And it was such a pleasure taking this course. And I hope everybody has a great summer. Thank you.